All right, Abby Romberger for Module 5. I decided to have my students create a bookmark that lit up. So I started off by having the kids that would create a large design. And then after they created their large design, then they would be using scale factors to make it into their own bookmark. They are going to be able to create the design with whatever they would like to. They're using their Algebra 1 skills to create that larger model and then creating a smaller one using, as I said, scale factors, ratios, etc. I like the fact that the students have complete control over their bookmark, so they get to create it and make it into their own design as long as it has a piece that lights up with it. And so I decided to first ask myself, what is it that I can do with the circuit and what can I make and what would be relevant to my students? And I first thought of this bookmark because when I was reading Code Girls, I didn't have a bookmark. I needed to pause, so actually I was near the library, so I popped in. My librarian had ones that you could color. And so I thought that was so much fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I loved that that bookmark was kind of personal to what I wanted. So my plan is to create a bookmark. Now, I used my Cricut, and the reason I used my Cricut for this is because my school actually just got a Cricut that students can use. And so my goal would be eventually to have students use this Cricut to do all this and talk about the ratios and all the factors and things that they would be using for that. So I'm going to kind of go forward with that, whereas right now I would still probably have my kids be using it by hand before I can actually get everybody onto the Cricut and knowing how to use it. So I went onto my Cricut and I designed a wolf that had some stars and moons to cut out. So here it is cutting it out, and I want the stars and the moons to light up. So I have to go through and actually cut out all of the little pieces here, and you can see the moon and the stars and little trees and the wolf at the bottom there. So all that is cut out. Wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, so I glued it onto a sturdy piece of paper like a cardstock, and then I'm going to put that onto another piece of cardstock or cardboard. So I'm playing around with my circuit design here, and I got pretty good until I realized I made a mistake. I connected the two tapes together. Did not work, and then I failed to put the LED in the right spot as well. So when it first started, it wasn't working. I was like, okay. And so fixed it, and I was good to go then. So I finally was able to get it to light up, and I got it to light up. And so then I wanted to play around with it a little bit more here. And so I wanted to see how many LEDs I could put on it. So at first I tried with 3, and I got it to be, I also then realized that the P meant the purple. So I have 2 purples and 1 yellow. And then I decided that it didn't quite light up as much as I wanted. So I went up to 4. And then I decided I didn't like the 2 purples. And so I switched 1 to blue. And that worked out really, really well. I did have to move where the LEDs were at so it could light up the moon and stars in all of the places. So I spent time moving things around, and then eventually I got it to where I liked the LEDs to be at, where it also lit up. So here it is all lit up. I did make an adjustment after this one. I moved one of the LEDs down, and I also made the holes at the bottom a little bit bigger. And so here it is with the stars at the bottom a little more shown. Now, the one thing that I would change, when it's all lit up, like I see the moon and the stars, but I don't get to see the wolf. And it actually put out a more light than I had expected, which was really cool. But I would definitely change it so I could see the whole shape and see the entire wolf, and then the bottom trees and moon cut out, or wolf cut out. So that is a change that I would definitely make. I do believe that this lesson presents a real problem. I mean, right, circuits, that's a real thing. So I just wasn't sure about the fact of being a bookmark, so kind of putting this somewhat. But I absolutely think the students would relate to this problem with the bookmarks and like creating something that they could do. There's definitely multiple and ways and creative approaches to solving this. It definitely has some science and math grade level content, those ratios, those geometric shapes. The engineering design process definitely happened and is 100% hands-on and gets to teach them how those ratios and LEDs and how the circuit's going to work, right? That circuit is a huge piece. I know I'm covering us up, but yes, it leads to the design and development of a model and prototype. The role of technology is definitely clear, right? That circuit is really neat. Hopefully I can get them onto the Cricut. That would be a really cool technology piece. And this does not really use teamwork at all, but the students get to do and test their solutions, evaluate the results, and at the end I would have them share and present with each other.